Halloween in Maple Hollow had always felt special. A little eerie, yes, but magical too. The whole town would come alive with jack-o'-lanterns glowing on porches, cold wind brushing through dying leaves, and laughter echoing through empty streets. It was the kind of place that looked harmless, until you stayed long enough to notice the shadows that lingered a bit too long. Amber and Lily were best friends, the kind of inseparable pair who did everything together. They'd been planning their Halloween outfits for weeks, scrolling through thrift apps, looking for something vintage and spooky. But when everything else felt too ordinary, they decided to visit a place that few people even remembered existed. An old shop called Hollow Antiques. It stood at the edge of Main Street, half hidden behind ivy and fogged windows. The bell over the door let out a hollow metallic chime as they entered. Inside it smelled like dust and candle wax, and something older, something metallic and cold. There were shelves of cracked dolls, porcelain faces staring blankly into nothing, and clocks that ticked out of rhythm, like hearts that had forgotten how to beat. Near the back on a small velvet tray sat 2 bracelets. Silver. Twisted like vines, thin but intricate, each engraved with tiny swirling patterns that seemed to move when you looked at them too long. Amber laughed softly and said they'd be perfect for Halloween. Matching pieces, symbols of friendship. Lily hesitated. There was something off about them, something that felt alive. But Amber brushed it off with her usual confidence. And when they took the bracelets to the counter, the old woman who ran the shop smiled in a way that didn't reach her eyes. She said, "Once you wear them, you'll never be apart." And before either of them could respond, she turned away, leaving their money on the counter untouched. That night the town came alive. Children in costumes filled the streets, laughter mixing with the cool autumn wind. Amber and Lily got ready together, taking pictures, teasing each other, sharing candy as they slipped on their new bracelets. At first, everything felt normal, just another Halloween night. But as the evening went on, Lily began to notice little things. A soft whisper that seemed to follow her through the house. A flicker in the corner of her eye whenever she passed a mirror. At first she thought it was just her imagination. Until she saw her reflection smile, half a second too late. Amber, meanwhile, started getting strange notifications on her phone. A photo of the 2 of them standing outside Hollow Antiques. Only the picture looked wrong. Their eyes were black, and behind them, reflected faintly in the glass, was the old woman. Her grin was wide and sharp, like something stretching too far across her face. When Amber tried to call Lily, the line was filled with static. And in the static she swore she heard a whisper. 2 words, never apart. That's when the bracelets began to change. The metal that once felt cool now pulsed with warmth, almost like it had a heartbeat. When Lily tried to take hers off, it wouldn't budge. The clasp had vanished. The silver had sealed itself around her wrist, smooth and seamless, as if it had always been part of her skin. Amber's did the same. They both felt it tighten just enough to hurt, just enough to draw blood. By midnight, the laughter outside had faded. The streets of Maple Hollow were empty. No footsteps, no voices, no lights except the flickering jack-o'-lanterns melting into themselves. Lily ran through the cold wind to Amber's house, clutching her burning wrist. But when she looked through the window, Amber was already standing there, smiling, watching her. Something was wrong with that smile. It was too wide, too fixed. And behind the glass, her reflection didn't move the same way. Upstairs, the real Amber screamed. Lily froze as the reflection turned its head toward her, eyes black, mouth opening in a silent scream that matched her own heartbeat. The lights flickered. The air grew heavy. And both bracelets began to glow, a pale, unnatural silver. The reflections in the window shifted. Not just theirs but dozens more. Faces of people who shouldn't exist trapped behind the glass. All wearing the same twisted silver bracelets. The air snapped. And in an instant, the two girls were gone. The next morning, Maple Hollow woke to silence. Both houses were empty. No signs of struggle. Just two melted bracelets lying on the road between their homes, fused together, still warm to the touch. Days later, Hollow Antiques opened again. No one remembered the store ever being closed, but there it was. Same dusty shelves, same broken clocks. And on the same velvet tray lay two new bracelets. Untouched. Waiting. Whispering faintly to each other in a language older than time. They say if you listen closely near the shop window on Halloween night, you can still hear laughter. Two girls. Best friends. Forever together. After all, once you wear them, you'll never be apart.